All right, guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Robert, and this is Hodgepodge Woodworks. This is my little friend Harry the Beaver. He's going to be supervising my turning today. I think everybody's hopping over from PF Woodturning's channel right now. Today, I've got Double D, Daniel from Turnage de Bois earworming for me. I'll go ahead and put him in the background and show you guys what I'll be turning. Wrong camera. So what I've got here is a piece of Chinese tallow. It's 11¼ inches in diameter, and at the thinnest point, it is about 1¼ inch. So I'll be turning a fairly thin platter. What I've gone ahead and done is drilled a small hole for a worm screw about 1/4 inch deep. So I'll show you a little trick I do sometimes with that. Because the bolt is longer than 1/4, obviously, and what you want to make sure you do is make sure the face of the jaws is in contact with the wood. So if I put it up there, it wouldn't be. You can kind of see a gap. If I screwed it in 1/4 inch to bottom out on the hole, there'd still be a gap. So I like to use little wooden discs that I'll thread on. And then I'll thread on the wood. And that'll make a secure connection. 90% of the turning I'm going to be doing is going to have the tailstock up. Okay, maybe it's not a secure connection. I'll take one of these off.
While you're doing that, Hodge, let me go ahead and jump through who all's here so far.
All right.
So, of course, we have the stars of the show, you and Harry, and then we have Acks Wood Paste is on, so hello. Annette Ackley, Barry Fisher, Barry's in the Shed, Bloomfield Farm, Brian at Heartwood Turning, Seth with Brickhouse Craftworks, Chris Spinning Wood Dodger, David Eisenhower, Todd with Duca Heritage, Gary Letizier, Gerard the French Turner, Good Turn Daily Blair, Jen Stevens, Mike Dell, Mike U, the Hobby Wood Turner, Radar the Wood Turner, Richard Phelan, Rob CP, Robbo Robertson, Rubadub Wood, Stuart the Wheelchair Artisan, Tim Ashley Woodworks, myself, Double D with Turnage du Bois, William Ellis, and Wolf Ridge Woodworking. If I missed anybody, I certainly apologize, but that's who I've got in the list so far.
Welcome, everybody. Now I'm going to be using my 1/2 inch Thompson bowl gouge to true off this surface.
And Wayne Hillman has just joined. Hi, Wayne, as has
Welcome,
Ian
Wayne.
Leonard. Hi, Ian. I Love Wood Turning Adam is in. Chad E is in. Derek is in. Jay Wooden Things AU is in. Welcome, everybody. Dr. Bob.
Welcome, guys, from Australia.
They're coming in fast and furious. So welcome, welcome. Night Eagle 317 is in.
I'm just truing up the face here so I kind of know what my final dimensions will be before I start shaping it.
And Christina Armstrong and Jeanette Nance have both joined, as has Mark B. and Pete with Twisted Trees. So welcome all of you new people coming along.
Yeah, welcome all of you guys that haven't been here before. And I guess the returning people as well.
Harold Golden's in, so
We gotta get Harry on camera. I saw he was covered.
yeah, that's important. Adam with I Love Wood Turning said he's here for Harry, so better keep him in the shot.
So I'll stop and take a look. I'm flat for the most part. I'm going to true up the edge so I know what my final diameter will be a little bit.
Mike DeVita Jr. has joined. Hi, Mike. Welcome.
Hello, Mike.
And if anybody has any questions on the process that Hodge is working on or anything like that, throw it up in the chat and I will let him know and we'll be able to talk through it. Mark B. Hodge is working on a piece of Chinese tallow, and he is making a platter with it.
Yeah, this is actually a piece of wood that came from the pith section of a crotch piece, and there happened to be not any pith running through it, so it should have some feathering, I think, on the top side of the platter. I'm going to true up.
Go ahead.
I'm going to true up the face real quick just so I can see what the final thickness is going to be.
Brent Sabotka has joined. So hi, Brent. Sorry if I mispronounced your name there. Stuart, the wheelchair artisan, asks, how long has Harry been turning wood?
Well, his first turning was maybe a month ago when he did his hollow form. But I guess he's been handling wood all his life as a beaver.
Excellent. Yeah, for those of you who haven't seen Harry turn, he did a hollow form a few weeks ago, and that is one of the videos if you look through Hodge's channel.
I think it just reached 1,000 views not too long ago. All right, I think I've got it. The final sort of shape defined for the most part, so I'll start shaping a mortise and a foot.
And Steve with Fenrica Wood Stuff has joined. Hi, Steve. Welcome.
Hello, Steve. Let's get rid of some of this waste wood. I think I'll make the foot about a third of the overall diameter of the platter.
Andy H is for turning has joined. Hi, Andy. Welcome.
To the tailstock camera.
Lawrence Bugasia has joined. Hi, Lawrence.
Turn the speed up a little bit more.
Mark B is asking about what speed are you turning right now?
Right now I'm at 900 RPMs.
Hope everybody's having fun today with this Acks Extravaganza that they're putting on.
Yeah, I hope Ed Parker at Ridge Woodworks gets to feeling better. He had to drop out the other day because he wasn't feeling well.
Lynn Hensley has joined, as has Joe Garofalo. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome, Joe.
Turex 007 Lee has joined and asks, what angle and grind is your gouge?
Well, I wish I could answer that, but I have no idea. I'll try to give you a close-up. It's somewhere probably around 40, 45, maybe a little less. But just kind of the fingernail grind, it's whatever I just kind of put on it, and that's what I've turned with for the last, I don't know, 6 years. Go back to the tailstock.
And Ed is watching with Wolf Ridge. He says stupid COVID. Yeah, definitely get to feeling better, Ed.
So I'm just going to start shaping it now. I'm going to kind of have a gentle OG shape. And then I'll turn the speed down and make sure I get my mortise size properly. When you do this, you want to make sure you only touch the left side of the point, otherwise it'll wrap around and fly somewhere you don't want it to go.
And Hodge, Peggy with PF Woodturning is joined. Hi, Peggy. Welcome.
Welcome, Peggy. You did a pretty good job on your first live.
Yeah, always fun to get those out of the way. Seth has a question for you, Hodge. In order to pump yourself up for the live, did you listen to Eye of the Tiger, The Final Countdown, or The Wheels of the Bus?
I didn't listen to any of that. Sorry, Seth. Harry gives a pretty mean pep talk, so that's all I need. I'll raise the tool rest a little bit more. So I'll remove some of the waste wood here in the middle where the mortise is going to be, and then I will define it more when I remove the tailstock here in a moment.
It's great to see everybody in here watching and supporting Hodge. So if you like what you see, definitely give it the thumbs up. Let YouTube do its algorithm thing. And remember, through the Acks Paste Woodturning Extravaganza, that you check out the other makers. So coming up here in a little bit after Hodge is Ken over at Moon Pie. So I'll be throwing a link out to his video as we get further in. And of course, Peggy just finished up hers, but go check that out when she has that posted on her channel as well. So see what all the awesome makers do.
I just realized that there's still some chainsaw marks on part of the wood, so I'm going to have to make it a little thinner. So I'll shave off that foot and make a new one.
Hodge, TrueX007 asks, how deep is the mortise? Are you going to make it any specific depth, or are you just kind of going to go with feel for it?
It'll be under, let's see, probably a little under 1/8 of an inch, just because this piece is so thin. Try to refine this curve a little bit.
Mark B, this is a piece of Chinese tallow. Stephen Jobbins has joined. Hi, Stephen. Welcome.
Welcome, Stephen.
Darren Wright has also just joined. Welcome. And even though Ed with Ridge Woodworking wasn't able to do his live today, check out his channel as well. Does some absolutely amazing stuff. So support all the makers that are working with Acks Woodturning Extravaganza today for sure.
All right, let's see where we're at. I like the figure of it. Looks almost kind of like, what do they call it? Buckeye?
Yeah, it really does.
With the gray figure in there. So I got a little bit of a foot. I'm going to get my 3-point tool, or my point tool, I guess, and make a little more defined shoulder here.
Adam had a quick question for you. Are you scraping on the pull cut or using bevel support?
Let's see. There's some bevel support, but it's a lot of scraping. I really like the push cut more so than that. So I'll try to do the push cut whenever I can. It's just the tailstock's in the way. I might try to do a finishing cut with the tailstock out of the way, but I'm not too sure how well the worm screw will hold or not.
And Steve with Temple Boy Turnings made it in. Hi, Steve. Welcome.
Now, what I want to go ahead and do on the foot here is make sure it is concave so that it sits on the rim, which it is. So I'll start defining the mortise a little bit better now. I'll do as much as I can with the tailstock in place. Which I think that's about as much as I can do right now. So I will do one last pass on the shape to try to get a nice finish and cut down on sanding. I'm doing a shear cut right now. You can try to catch some of the shavings. You get these little fine shavings. I guess they call them angel hairs. So I'm pretty happy with the overall curvature of it.
TrueRex007 asks, how thick was the slab to start?
It was 1.25 inches. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the tailstock and make sure it's all right. Seems good. Seems tight.
And Hodge, I'm going to throw that link out to the Acks their video for the entry if you want to talk about that.
All right.
Let people know what's going on.
Tom and Ann were gracious enough to include some prizes when they hosted this. They're hosting this event, and they put out a video on their channel, I think titled Acks Extravaganza or something like that. And if you go and watch it, they'll give you the instructions on what to do, which will be, I think, to leave a comment in their description or in the comment section with your name and location, and then they'll have a drawing tomorrow at 11-ish a.m. Eastern time. And then I think one prize will be available for worldwide shipping, and then the rest are the US only, I think. Maybe Canada, I'm not sure. But they're giving away a couple bowl gouges, some Acks paste, a t-shirt, I think some Starbond glue. So just go there and watch it and subscribe and leave a comment. I'm going to finish off this mortise here, remove the little nub from the tailstock.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really nice of them to do. So thank you, Acks, Tom and Ann. Thanks for supporting the community and having these giveaways. It's a lot of fun.
Now I will define the shoulder a little bit more and then go in and put a dovetail for my jaws. Turn the speed up a little more.
Joe Garofalo asks, does the Acks polish have an abrasive component as well, or is it a finish? And I know that they have their abrasive paste and then they have their wax finish. Hodge, since you've used them quite a bit, of course, in your support of them and things, can you talk about what their services, what they have and what it does?
I can try. I think Ken will give a better explanation, but they have two of their products. Excuse this sanding paste, which has an abrasive in it. I think it's diatomaceous earth. It does sanding. I think it goes up to the equivalent of 1,000 or 1,200 or 1,500. I'm not sure. Maybe Tom and Annette can give the specifics about that in the chat. And then they have their polish restoring paste, which, if I believe it, isn't a finish either, but it just brings up the shine a little bit more. A lot of people will use OB Shine Juice as a finish, or some high gloss wax. There's other people that will put on lacquer finishes and then use the polish and paste to clear that up or make that a little shinier. Let me see if this light will work or if it blinds you guys so I can see a little better. That shouldn't be, that's not too bad. So I'm just going to put a little dovetail in here.
Robert Dolman has joined. Steve with Temple Boy Turnings asked, is Acks available in the UK and Ireland? I will let Tom and Annette answer that to decide that. Ed at Ridge Woodworking does specify their products are food safe also. So if you're making things that are going to handle food, that is a good thing to know.
All right, where'd my ruler go? So to measure, just because I know some people want to know, I have the mortise right at 1/8 of an inch, which I think will be all right. I'm going to add a little decoration, well, not necessarily decoration, but kind of make it a little concave inside rather than just flat. Not too much, just because I don't want it to be a funnel, but I don't really like it just being flat either.
And Annette did specify they will ship anywhere in the world. So just reach out to them and they'll get you some shipping costs if you're interested in trying it out.
All right, here goes. I'm going to go ahead. It seems pretty stable. I'm going to go ahead and try to take one final finishing pass just to remove ridges and some tear out I see on this feathering here. You can see it better without the light right here. So turn the speed up. I'm at 950. And now I'm just going to try to take one really light cut.
And Effie Smith has joined, as has Mark Stratton. Welcome. Radar, you're asking about paying for the slab. Are you asking that of Hodge if he had to pay for this piece of wood?
I'm getting a little bit of vibration out here.
Mark's Craft Shed has joined. Hi, Mark. Welcome.
Welcome, Mark.
Radar wanted to know how much you did, if you paid for that, and how much you did. And I know that your neighbor had the tree come down, which I'm assuming that's part of that tree, correct?
Yeah, there's a little void right here, bark inclusion, but oh well, just adds character. Yeah, I didn't have to pay anything. I was working from home due to COVID, and
I was sitting at my desk, which was the living room table at the time, and I heard a chainsaw going off, which for most wood turners, that's like a ice cream truck. And I walked outside and saw a guy climbing a tree because there is in a backyard and there are lots of fences, so they were cutting it off in sections. So I walked over there, or actually I texted them and asked them if they, if I could ask the guys to save me a piece or two. So, and they said fine. So I got maybe 3 logs about 18 inches in diameter for free. One of them was a crotch piece, which is where this came from. I have 2. I haven't turned any other crotch, but this piece was pretty heavy and was left in my driveway for a while, so that's kind of why it's spalted. I'm gonna go ahead and actually, I think I'm gonna sand. I guess I'll start sanding at 120. I really wish I had 180, but I only have 240, so
Sarah,
I'll start sanding.
Ed with Wolf Ridge has said that he really likes those wispy shavings.
Yeah, the wispy shavings are always good. Just giving it one look, see if there's any tear out that I need to focus a little bit more on, which I don't seem to see any. Yeah. So I think we're good to go on up to 240. I am, however, going to put on my dusk mask real quick, so if you guys don't mind a little jostling around.
Truex wants to know if how wet the wood is. Oh, put your headset down. Truex wants to know how wet the wood is. Podge?
Pretty dry. I can feel a little dampness, but probably around 20%, I would say, which in Houston is pretty close to ambient or moisture content.
And Lewis, the Klondike Craftsman, has joined. Hi, Lewis. Welcome.
Welcome, Lewis. Turn the speed of the lathe down a little bit.
William said Harry's awfully quiet today. Harry's pretty shy on the lives. He doesn't talk a lot on the lives.
All right, go to 320 now.
And I'm going to throw some links out to the other channels that are participating in this. So the first one coming out is going to be for PF Woodturning. She just got done with her live, so check that out when you get a chance. Joe Garofalo asks, whose angle drill are you using? Looks fairly compact. And I know we've talked about that a few times, but I like to forget that kind of thing too. So,
yeah. So this is the angle drill that I got from Woodturners Wonder. They sell a lot of CBN wheels, but
I think this angle grinder, or this 55-degree drill, is available from numerous stores. They just put a different sticker on it.
Excellent.
So right now I'm just doing a little fine sanding in the corner of the mortise.
And Jason Wheeler has joined. Welcome, Jason.
Welcome, Jason. And I'm going to go up to 400 grit, and then I'll use the Acks abrasive.
Ed with Wolf Ridge says he has the same one, and it is awesome. Speaking of, this link that I'm putting out now is for Wolf Ridge Woodworking. I know he was not able to participate because of COVID and things. So, Ed, we hope you get to feeling better, but there's a link to his channel. So check out his channel and subscribe to him if you have not before.
All right, so now I will clean off the dust with some denatured alcohol.
Golf to Actual has joined from Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Welcome.
Welcome. Pretty happy with how that looks grain-wise. love the color.
Mark B, he was asking if you used a sacrificial glue block and then the worm screw or just straight into the block. Hodge put the worm screw straight into the block, but he put some spacers in so it wouldn't go quite so deep to avoid any issues there.
Yeah, I'll show you when I take it off here shortly after I put the Acks on. Just letting the denatured alcohol dry a little bit.
And Chris with Bailey Woodworks has joined. Hi, Chris. Welcome.
Just using a hot air gun to dry it off a little quicker.
And Todd with Duke of Heritage says it looks beautiful.
Thank you, Todd. Should be good. So now I'll use the Acks abrasive paste and just put a little bit on a piece of paper towel and spread it around with the lathe turned off.
Is there any special process to the way you use that, Hodge, or is it pretty much however you feel like at the time?
Yeah, it's pretty much, I mean, it's similar to, I guess, other abrasive pastes as far as I know. I've never used anything else, but just apply it with the lathe off, use the same paper towel to clean it off. Once the paper towel comes clean, then you're done to move on to the next one, I think. Turn the speed up a little more gradually, I guess, over time.
Adam asks if you typically use sanding sealer, or is it you put it after the Acks, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people say to use sanding sealer first. I usually don't, but sometimes I do. I don't know. I don't see it making that much of a difference.
I know I use sanding sealer if the wood's pretty soft or punky, but other than that, I typically don't do it myself unless I'm doing a stain or something. Kevin Howell has joined from Scotland, says hello. Welcome.
Welcome, Kevin. I'm just going over it like once with the lathe speed lower, and then I'll turn it up. You can if you're in person, you can kind of hear the grittiness sound like you would with sandpaper. I can feel that void here, so I thought it was something weird, like rough, but it's just that void bouncing on the paper.
And so you talk about this being like what you think are other abrasive pastes that you haven't used it. So you basically just rub it until it feels like it's running pretty smooth, and then you shift over to a clean spot on the rag and make sure nothing's coming off, or is there anything special you do there?
That's basically what I do. Like I'll spend a little more time on the center since the rotation's less at the center because it's a smaller diameter. And then I'll switch over to a clean part of the towel. As you can see, it's kind of gotten that gray color because some of the dust is stuck in the wax, which is a good thing because you don't have to breathe in that dust since it's kind of like wet sanding. Mark B, I can get you 10% off Acks, I believe, if you use the code Hodge10, I think. Or you might win some if you enter the drawing for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll throw that link to that video back out for people who have joined new and don't want to scroll all the way through the chat for that. Go watch that video and comment on it appropriately, and you can be entered in the drawing. Gerard wants to know if it's like Yorkshire grit. It's going to be similar. I mean, it's going to be a sanding paste. It's just going to be, of course, different companies have different methods and different things that they utilize in it, but I think overall the concept is kind of the same as any abrasive paste, but definitely
I'm gonna get a new paper towel because that one's pretty dirty. Jason, we were out of power for around 48 hours. And I think our house got down to, I don't know, like the 45 degrees while it was the coldest without power. But it wasn't too bad. I had this, I don't know if any of you guys know what a comfy is, but it's like a gigantic fleece hoodie. So that's what I was wearing throughout the house. We have a gas water heater and stove, so we had hot water the entire time, and we didn't have any pipes burst or anything like that. So as you can see, the paper towel is coming off pretty clean. There's still a little bit of wax, but that should be gone here shortly. And then we'll do basically the same thing with the polish paste. I know I got another hour to go. I'm trying to make this go slow, but I guess I have some other stuff I can just throw up on the lathe if I have extra time. So now the paper towel is clean, and it looks pretty nice with just the polish or the sanding paste. But I will go the extra step with the polish restoring paste next. And the same thing applies here, just kind of apply it with the lathe off. This piece makes me really excited to turn the bigger platter blanks that I have. Now I'll go ahead and turn the lathe back on, turn the speed down a little bit to around 500 just for the initial application. Apparently Daniel's got some issues going on. Maybe his dog's going crazy. Tommy, Steve, yeah, Harry would use it as toothpaste if I let him, but occasionally he'll get into it. That's probably why his teeth are white and not orange like real beaver's teeth.
Sorry for any background noise, people. I had a slight emergency with the neighbor, so sorry about that. Dark Matter has joined.
All right.
Yeah, locking themselves out of the car without their keys in a different town, and then can't get a hold of their significant other, and texting us and people not responding. It's great fun.
All right, I'll go to a clean part of the cloth, turn the speed up a bit. Hey Shay, how you doing? So I'm thinking with just how thick I've left the rim, I'll go to the overhead camera if I can find my mouse. It's kind of hard doing it left-handed. So I've left the rim kind of thick, so I think I'm going to have kind of a curved upper rim. I guess this shape is kind of inspired by the Jimmy Clues platter that I saw him demonstrate here in Houston maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I don't know. But he usually uses a curly maple and then dyes the rim. So I'm done with the bottom side now. I'll go to the tailstock camera. Actually, I'm not done. I'll go ahead and apply a high speed or high gloss wax. This is the Hampshire Sheen brand. Just take a little bit on a paper towel. You don't need that much. And then apply that on. And then it's kind of like a friction polish. You just turn it on and let the friction kind of let it soak in.
Yeah, Wayne Hillman was just asking if it was better to use a paper towel or can you use a cloth. I know that when I'm using my lathe, definitely don't want to use cloth because if it catches, it can break your finger, it can pull your hand into the tool rest or whatever and cause problems. So I personally always use paper towel.
Lynn, I am putting on Hampshire Sheen High Gloss Finishing Wax. There's a few places in the United States that sell it. I think one is the Walnut Log, and another is Wood World of Texas, which is in Dallas.
John Tompkins has joined and asks, what are you going to do to stabilize the wood? Will it not go whack as it dries?
It's pretty dry. Like I said, I think it's around 20% moisture. If it ends up warping a little bit, then oh well. It's just nature's way of altering the piece, I suppose. I kind of like organic warped pieces. I'll turn a lot of things wet and let them dry, which, since I've got time, I'll let you guys know about a giveaway that I'm having. I reached 500 subs a while back, and this is a piece of oak burl that I turned not too long ago on a live, but I'll be giving that away in March sometime. I'll probably put up a video of how to enter similar to the Acks drawing in the upcoming week or two. So for the one that was asking about the worm screw, I just have the worm screw and then these little, I think these are 1/4-inch plywood washers that'll kind of act as support so I don't have to drill as deep of a hole. Go ahead and take out the worm screw, set that aside, and put it on the mortise.
Hodge, is there a rule of thumb that you... Go ahead.
Since I'm planning on leaving the mortise, I don't want to apply too much pressure because I don't want to have jaw marks. Worst case, I can always reverse it in a jam chuck and try to turn those off, or wait till I buy a vacuum chuck, which who knows when that'll be, but that's one of the things on my shopping list.
Yeah, and those are ever growing. Is there a rule of thumb that you use when you are creating a mortise or a tenon as to the size of the mortise or tenon as in relation to the piece you're turning?
As in regards to the diameter of it, yes. When they make a chuck, I'll grab another chuck. When they make a chuck, they'll make the jaws in one piece and then they cut it into quarters. So there's a particular spot when you make it to where the gap is the size of whatever they cut it with, the kerf of the saw or whatever it is, where you get more of an actual circle. If you were to make it too big, for example, then you'd only be contacting the outer radii of the jaws instead of a full contact around the circle. So there's kind of a defined diameter you always want to use. As far as depth goes, if you make it that right diameter, and just depending on the size of the piece, that's kind of what I go by as far as the depth of it.
Okay. True Rex wants to know what the brand of the chuck is. I think that's a Nova, right?
Yeah, it's a Super Nova 2 chuck. That is just what I bought first. So it's kind of like when you're buying chucks, you kind of want to stick with one manufacturer so you can have multiple chucks like I do, and you can swap jaws and stuff like that. I'm going to switch to my 5/8 Henry Taylor gouge just because it's fresh and sharp and I haven't used it. I'll go ahead and start truing up the face. First, I'll put my face shield back on.
And Lynn, yeah, and yeah, you'll see that in my video tomorrow, why it's good to have a face shield. Lynn says, I have a heck of a time with a worm screw. Not sure why. What's the easiest way to get it into the wood? Like, I know I have a problem with mine. Sometimes it doesn't like to stay. Is there something you do specific for it that helps?
Let's see. What I use. Where's my drill? So I use a 11/32 drill bit on this one, which is obviously smaller than the thread size. I don't know how well you can see it. It looks almost like it's bigger than the thread size, but it's smaller. It's about the size of the shaft that the threads are on. And then this wood is somewhat soft, so it's easy to thread in. If you're using harder woods, you might have to drill a little bigger hole. I'm not sure. I've never used it. You want to make sure that the face of the jaws are in contact with the wood, though. So that's why I use that spacer. If it's got a gap, then it will easily shift and wiggle loose.
Good to know. Radar wants to know what the best chuck is to hold the wood. I think any chuck will hold the wood. It just depends on the size of the mortise or tenon that you're using and using the correct jaws with it.
I'm just truing up the face. I'll actually go from the outside in.
John Tompkins asks, what are you treating your lathe ways with? They look polished.
I just use Johnson's paste wax. I'll use like a green Scotch-Brite pad and put the wax on it and then just kind of buff it and let it sit just like you would like car wax, and then wipe it off with a paper towel. I have a lot of, being in Houston, oak is a common wood that I can get for free, so that has a lot of tannins, so it'll turn your metal black if you don't keep it waxed, so I guess that's why it's in fairly decent condition, because I have to wax it a lot.
Cool. Radio Face Woodworks has joined, says sorry for being late. Lewis is asking what grit equivalent is Acks, and I know we talked about it was either 1,000 or 1,200. Lewis, they only have the one grit in the abrasive paste. So, like, I know when I use Acks, when I just ran out of my abrasive paste with Acks, but I would sand with sandpaper up to 400 grit, and then I would hit it with the abrasive paste and go from there.
I'm just trying to get the rim to its final, or at least get it flat, so then I can start putting the curve. There's a little bit of vibration. I don't know if it's because it's not flat yet. I think it's better now that I'm not cutting air.
And Bloomfield Farm asks, what is the best tool rest?
I'd have to say I have one curved robust tool rest, but I'm planning on buying another one at some point. But as long as the tool rest has like a hardened edge, that's what a lot of people prefer, so there's no nicks and you don't have to like grind it flat often if there's catches or nicks in it. There's also Steve Sinner makes Sinner tool rests here in the States. They're also one that a lot of professional turners use.
Yeah, and I know that Nova has an interchangeable tool rest setup as well, to where you buy the post, and then you can buy different size pieces that thread into that post, so you can change to I have I think a 6-inch one that I use for when I'm doing pins. Otherwise, I use my 12-inch rest that came with my jet lathe. So MTech has joined up and says, hi, Acks, I just ordered a kit. That is awesome.
So at the moment, I'm just kind of taking away the waste wood. When I get a little deeper, I will define the rim a little better. I need to make sure I don't get carried away because this was fairly thin. Luckily, I've got a little depth gauge that I made after seeing Wayne the woodturner show his on one of his lives. So I'll pull that out here shortly. I've still got some chainsaw marks here on the rim, so I'm gonna have to make that a little thinner. I think I forgot about that, so hopefully it'll look all right. Got
Lewis asks, who distributes in Canada? I'm going to let Tom or Ann respond to that. I know that they do ship internationally. I don't know if they have any specific distributors there in Canada directly. So, and Shay with BB Turning is back after we got the kids in bed and the tea and Jaffa cake. So welcome back, Shay.
See if I've gotten past that chainsaw mark. No, still a little bit there. If you can see it. About 1/8 of an inch left. So I think maybe I'll curve the inside part in more. Let's see where we're at. Still a bit to go.
I'm going to throw the link out to Acks video that you can comment on and get involved in the drawings that they're having. So definitely check out their video. I know they have weekly giveaways, I think, and they can anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they have weekly giveaways of some of their kits as well. But check them out if you're interested for sure. And Hodge has a coupon code for if you buy.
All right, so I think I'm past that chainsaw mark. It's kind of altered my design a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish this edge. There's a bit of tear out here.
Okay, Annette said that they send a form letter out to those asking from other countries. So they'll send you a document if you'll reach out to them. If you're not in the U.S., reach out to them. I know Lewis is in Canada, but reach out to them. They'll get you some information you can complete, and they'll get you some pricing on the shipping and stuff.
Should be able to sand away most of that. Kind of got a weird, I don't know how I want to do this rim now. Maybe I'll make kind of an undercut.
Okay, Annette, thanks for confirming that. They do have weekly drawings on Sundays. They give away 2 kits, so thank you for confirming.
And I'm just going to hog away a lot of the material now. Now what I tend to do is I'll look over from the top, basically like from the overhead camera. I'll have my head basically right here so I can kind of see where the wall thickness is.
So by doing that, you end up using your gouge as a depth gauge.
Yeah, sort of.
At the same time.
I wouldn't rely too far as like the depth of it, but just to get a general idea. I still have a good 1/4 of an inch, maybe 3/8. Obviously, I have to remember that I have a mortise, which I typically don't use, but should be all right. I'll go ahead and hog away most of this wood here in the middle.
I'll switch to a different gouge first, just so I don't dull that one.
Iona said she'd like to try Acks Paste, but she wonders if shipping to Ireland's too expensive, though. Here's the thing, Leona. You go in with Steve T and a couple other people who want to try it, and you order like 1 kit a piece and then split the shipping. That's the way to do it.
So I see that I got about 30 minutes left.
And I'm going to go ahead and throw a link out to Moon Pie Creations since he's coming up next. So that way you'll have that link and you'll be able to jump right over to his channel and catch out his live that's coming up.
If Mark, the gentleman Woodturners here, you can see that I just caught the little thing.
Oh, I have not seen him in yet, but I'm sure we can point that out to him on next time we have a video.
All right.
Good catch.
All right, I'm going to see a little bit here. Still got quite a bit of space. I'm going to go to the other gouge now just because it's got easier to make bevel contact. Can't see because of all the shavings.
Yeah, Adam, I don't think they have that there's any stockists out of country right now. They just do the shipping directly internationally. So if you're interested, reach out to them through their website, which I believe is axwoodpaste.com. And they will give them, so they'll send you a document. You just let them know your information and they can get you some shipping prices.
So one thing I saw, I don't know if there's a wood turning 360 demo or not. That's a virtual club, but Glenn Lucas mentioned how to tell if you've got a little dimple in your middle is to rub your fingers across fast and you'll feel it bumping or jumping over that little bump. So it's kind of hard to tell in mine because there's this feathering, so the grain's kind of torn a little bit. As far as the flatness of it, seems okay. I think I'll call that good and get on to the sanding besides this little groove in the rim. All right, that's good.
Dark is asking if Acks Wood Paste is good beaver wax.
I don't know. This fur tends to stay pretty clean, just dusty, I guess. Steve's got an interesting trivia about beavers. I'm going to put my dust mask on if I can find it one more time. So apologies for any noise.
And I will go back and sand from, I think I'll start with 80 grit this time just because of that tear out in the grain.
Shay says you can wet the surface and you'll see it in the reflection.
Oh yeah, the little bump.
Yep. Rob, Hodge doesn't have to finish right now. He has another 30 minutes, and then Moon Pie Creations is on right after that. So 10:30 p.m. GMT is when Hodge should be done, and that's when Ken over at Moon Pie Creations starts. Once again, I'm going to throw out a link to Peggy with PF Woodturning to her channel. She just completed just before Hodge started, so check out her video. I will also throw out Wolf Ridges. Ed with Wolf Ridge was planning on participating and got sick, so was not able to do so, but support his channel as well. And then last but not least, here is Moon Pie's link as well to his video. So go check him out next, coming up. I'm not sure what he's doing.
Yeah, I have no idea what he's doing. Probably something with resin, I'm guessing.
He said right now, according to the info in his video, that not only will there be fun and laughter, but there will be giveaways. So it sounds like he's going to have some giveaways to check out, or at least talk about the giveaways, and they could be Acks giveaways. So check it out. William Ellis has to leave. Have a good one. Thanks for coming by.
Oh, wrong direction. There's a little bit of tear out in this feathering area here. I don't know. Let's see. No, that's worse. But where there's the feathering, where the grain changes direction, there's some tear out.
True Rex asks, general question, if your gouge is warm or hot, is that always indicative of a dull edge or wet wood or something else?
I think from what Pete at Twisted Trees told me once, that if the bark or the shavings are coming off hot, then it's a dull edge. And I guess Leona says right there, you might be taking too big of a cut.
Yeah, Shay said dull edge also, or potentially very hard wood. It's just the friction, of course, that heats it up. So, yeah, it could be kind of a mix of both.
So I just noticed that there's still a bit of the chainsaw mark right there. You can kind of see the line. So I'm going to take one last little pass to take that out. Where is it at? So I know it diameter. All right, in the middle. Still a little bit more.
Joe Garofalo says, "Oh no, the last cut." Just don't say one more pass. That's the key that you want to avoid. With that as thin as it is, are you getting much vibration, or is it thick enough to?
No, I've left it a little bit thick.
Okay.
But yeah, there's some vibration around over this piece a little.
Ben Jammin has just joined. Welcome, Ben. Says, hello, Americans.
Welcome, Ben. All right. Sand that bit one last time. Switch to 120.
And Anne also said that they make chapstick, so abrasive paste for your lips. Is the chapstick food safe? That's the question.
All right, go with 240 grit now.
Dark says that wood is beautiful and it's going to look great.
Yeah, I can't wait to get the finish on it.
And confirmed that it is food safe, the chapstick, and it's without the abrasive. So good to know. Todd said he finally ordered one of those hook and loop mandrels after this week's live edge. He's been hand sanding for what feels like years. Yeah, that's it sounds fun, Todd.
Go to 320.
For that live edge stuff, you should do like, who is it? Phil at Shady Acres has the drill attachment that he uses on the live edge stuff to clean up the bark just a little bit.
Then I'll finish off with 400 and then do the Acks Paste steps again.
Yeah, Chris, that's right. The Sandoflex seems to work pretty well for him. Thanks for, I could not think of the name to save my life. Thanks, Chris. Archie Monty has joined. Welcome. Says, seeing all this turning is just wonderful.
All right, so I will clean it off with denatured alcohol again and give a little bit of a sneak peek on what the grain will look like. The dog likes it. Turn that on just to dry it off a little quicker.
All right. Now go ahead and use the Acks sanding paste.
Leona says, very nice. Bloomfield said, really pretty. Dark Matter says, just beautiful, Hodge. If you put paint on that, I'm unsubscribing right now.
I'm not a huge fan of paint, especially, I mean, I never paint something like this, but, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of painting with the wood. Eventually, I'll probably try it. There's times I like it, but most of the time I like the natural look of the grain.
Adam asks if there's wax in the paste. I do believe so, but Ann or Tom can validate for sure. Leona asks, is that the natural color of the wood or is it spalted? It looks like there's a little
Yeah,
spalting, but
the crotch piece of the log stayed out in my driveway for, I don't know, 4 months. So there's some spalting, I believe. So I'll go ahead and turn the speed on, or the lathe on, start polishing it with the sanding paste.
thanks for confirming, Anne, that there is wax in the paste. Robbo says that it looks like a stormy coastline.
I'll have to take a look when I stop it, but I can definitely see the storm clouds.
Tom says it looks fantastic.
Turn the speed up a little bit.
Seth says it's gorgeous. Anne says it's a beautiful platter. And it
Thank
can be
you,
yours
guys.
for just $700.
That's just your price.
Right,
Daniel.
right. Yeah. I figured you were given the Daniel discount, the double D discount there. So Adam is asking, is it okay to color after you use the abrasive paste? I do not know that.
Neither do I. I would think you'd want to do it beforehand, but who knows? Apparently, this Chinese tallow is a what do they call it? Not an invasive, but like a pest tree down here in the south of the U.S. I think it's also called a popcorn tree. Maybe I'm mistaken, though.
Brian at Heartwood Turning says beautiful piece of wood and a great turn. Radar says amazingly beautiful. Wayne the wood turner, I think, will paint after he uses Yorkshire grit. I just don't know the differences really between Yorkshire grit and Acks. But yeah, and that's a good point. Peggy does a lot of painting on some of her, well, not a lot, but she does painting on her pieces. So yeah, that'd be a good person to ask if she would use it after or before Acks.
And I think there's some people that will use it as the abrasive sanding, like it's meant for or whatever, and then they'll clean off the wax with alcohol or mineral spirits or whatever to then apply like a lacquer finish or whatever other high gloss finish they want.
Jason Levron says, I've heard them called tallow Chinese chestnuts.
Okay. So now I'll go to the polish restoring paste and then the wax, and I should be done with maybe 5 minutes to spare or a little more. Wasn't expecting this to take as long as it did, but I guess I did a good job slowing down.
Yeah, that graining is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it really reminds me of Buckeye burl or Buckeye tree or whatever it is.
Yeah. I just threw the link back out one more time for Moon Pie Creations, who's coming up next.
I've got 2 other bowls that I rough turned sitting that I'll show you guys here after I'm done that hopefully have the same look. They definitely have some weird mold or fungus growing on them, so those should be interesting. And if you look in the camera to the right of my toolbox, there's the oak log standing up, but to the left of that is half of the platter blank that this came from, or half of the crotch piece. So it'll be a big, I don't know, 19 or 20 inch platter, basically maxing out the swing of this lathe, unless I get the lower extension bit.
Dark, this is a piece of Chinese tallow that is slightly spalted. Gary Letitia indicated that Peggy said she would apply abrasive paste after coloring.
All right. One last pass with a clean spot of towel.
Jason said they're considered trash trees. Never
Yeah.
saw one get as big as the piece you have.
This one was pretty big.
That's a big piece of trash you have on your lathe.
Yeah. I mean, that's, as a wood turner, you can you never know what you'll get with the trees. At least I don't, because I'm pretty used to just turning oak, sweet gum, maple, ash, sycamore, the common stuff. But, whenever I hear about free wood, if it's not pine, then I'm pretty much down for taking a piece or two, because, you can get surprised like this one.
Absolutely. Ken Vasco asks, I think I have things sanded to glass, and then when I take it off the lathe and put it horizontal, poof, a flaw. Any suggestions?
Yeah, I've had that problem a lot too. It's just, I think while it's on the lathe, you're not really, you might not be looking really close. I mean, if you get down really close and inspect it and maybe have a light that you can shine and try to look at different shadows, I guess would be a good suggestion. I think it's just, you have to be patient. I used to speed through sanding just because, sanding sucks. But you just have to be really diligent on that first grit so that you get rid of those initial scratches.
Yeah, that's the main thing, is making sure that you take your time sanding, don't rush through it. So
Turn to the overhead cam so I think you get a better look.
yeah, a lot of people are really liking it.
All right.
Ben asks if it was very punky. I know you had a couple of spots that had some tear out, but it didn't seem too punky at all.
No, it's not punky. The tear out was in this feathering area because the grain's going all sorts of different directions. But I'm pretty pleased with the grain for sure.
Sid's Repurposing just jumped in. Hi, Sid. Welcome.
Welcome, Sid. I show you the bottom side. I don't see any jaw marks in the mortise, so that's a good thing. There's your little bark inclusion.
That's
which
cool.
I think just adds a little bit of character.
Yeah.
The rim's kind of got, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. There's a slight curve, but then I had to kind of curve and then do like an S curve because of that chainsaw mark. So it's not, I think it turned out okay. It's not what I initially went with, but I think it works. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Robbo said, keep it on the chuck, unscrew it from the lathe, and take it outside to look at it so you get really good natural lighting. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's see, you got 10 minutes. If anybody's got questions, that would be cool. Otherwise...
See, Chris liked my price on it too. Just going to say.
Well, just I got my email in my, the About Me page. I'll give you a discount of 10% if you'd like. Just,
yeah, there you go.
As you're here to watching. But yeah, it's I'll show you guys the twice turned bowls that I did a video on just for fun. This is the same wood, just a different piece of it's got all sorts of creepy stuff growing on it. Make sure to wear my respirator on that one. But hopefully it'll have similar grain as this thing, besides the feathering, obviously. I turned that back in September last year, so it should be dry by now.
Yeah, that'll be great.
But, yep.
Make sure to hit that thumbs up, everybody, if you enjoyed what you're watching. And continue to support the Ken over at Moon Pie Creations, as he's up next, too.
I think Harry likes it. I don't know what I'll do with it. I'm sure the wife will like it. She might want to keep it.
Ken says, I have trouble signing with Sharpies. What's your method?
I use a wood burner. I'm not the greatest of wood pyrographer, I guess, or whatever. Here's that piece I said was the 500 giveaway. You can kind of see I wrote 500 So giveaway Oak Burl 2020 and then my initials. I mean, there's people that use the branding irons, which is cool and everything, but I feel like a hand signature is kind of a more, well, what's the word? Personal or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a guy, I don't know, I'm sure some of you have seen him, Chad Eames, who does a lot of crazy turnings. He signs his with a pin, and I just based on how well it looked, he'll sign it with a pin and then put oil on it. So I asked him what he used, and it's that's upside down. This Papermate Liquid Flare Extra Fine is what he ended up using. So I haven't really tried it too much, but based on what he does, it works pretty well.
Cool.
Yep. So again, I want to thank Tom and Ann at Acks Paste for putting this on. Was proud to be a part of it. Pretty happy with how it turned out. And if you guys would go check out Ken Moonpie, he does some crazy stuff. Last event he did, I ended up winning one of these little 2-to-1 total boat resin epoxies because I answered the quickest. So I got that and a cool total boat hat. So it's a lot of fun on his lives. He's quite the character. So go check him out. I'll be there for sure here in the next couple of minutes. So I think I'll go ahead and end the broadcast. Thank you guys for watching. I had fun. Harry says goodbye as well. So talk to y'all later.
Have a good one, everybody. Thanks again.
Bye, guys.